And we're going Liv.
Liv.
Just like Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler.
The esteemed daughter of rocker Steven
Rocker.
Tyler. And also
Aerosmith.
Lord of the Rings fame as well.
Steven Tyler was in Lord of the Rings?
No, but Liv Tyler was.
Oh, Liv Tyler was. Okay, so the video was there, and now the video is gone.
That's weird.
Oh, wait. Okay, it's back. Might have just been my my
Might have
phone.
just been your.
Yeah, could have been. Okay, so
You have such a good. You have a better camera on yours, right?
same. We have. I got
Same
two of
one?
the same cameras.
Like
Yeah,
you have such a better angle, and like mine is all awkward and weird, and
that's why I don't like that.
but like it's the same on the. Maybe it's just because you have such a good framing. You
Maybe
have all this stuff around you. I'm gonna just start
I have a lot of
taping
stuff.
stuff
Yeah,
up here for my angle to gussy it up.
yeah. We need to add more stuff
More
behind you.
flair, pieces of flair.
More pieces of flair. So you're saying I need more pieces? Well, you need 21. I have 21.
Oh, that's a classic.
But look at Billy. He has 47 pieces of flair. So you're saying I just need more pieces of flair. Just say it. Well, we can't say that.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, Mr. Bone. Mr. Bone, who is down there in our chat.
Mr. Bone. All right, you ready? Or you want to start the actual show?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I need to.
You have to do the thing.
There was a great line that I really liked.
That ain't right. Avengers Hockey is saying that you get the good angle because it's your studio.
It is my studio.
That's messed up.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time getting my angle correct.
And I just start taking all of my Star Wars stuff that I bought for my baby's room.
And bringing it in here.
Just to put in the background.
Yeah.
Sorry, daughter.
Sorry, you get
my
nothing.
vanity is in the way.
That's right. Of course, now I'm not going to find the line because the pressure is on. Oh, that's it. The empire is a disease that grows when we are sleeping.
Ah,
that's a good line. All right, let's open with that. On this episode of BanthaMilk Podcast, we find out that the empire is a disease that grows when we are sleeping. Intro music.
Wait, that's not it.
What? He's no good to me, Dad.
Intro music. Intro music.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Rob told me I could have some fun, so I had some fun.
It just like peaked. It sounded like I was going through puberty at that time. It was like intro music.
Right. Maybe you were, Rob.
Maybe I was. Maybe
but here
I
we
was.
are. We've made it to the end of the season.
We have.
And ahead of us is the dreaded dirge of Star Wars content. But there's actually a couple things we can talk about. But we're here to talk about episode 12.
Episode 12
of Andor. We are BanthaMilk Podcast.
We are.
That's what they call us on the streets.
And let's get our BanthaMilk out.
Yeah, let's get it because it looks to me like you have a different beer this time.
I do. I went out. So I was looking. There is a Brick Road Brewing.
Good alliteration.
Yes,
I like it already.
In New York, and I was like, ooh, but I couldn't find any of that around here. So I really wanted something that dealt with like bricks or something like that for the big episode, or even daughters because of the daughters of Ferrix and whatever. What I wound up finding was Supernaut.
Supernaut,
like astronaut, but a super astronaut. Yeah, astronaut like Star Wars from New England Brewing Company, and this is an IPA. Because
UPA? IPA, we all PA.
I have a shirt that says IPA a lot when I drink.
I really like that.
Yes. So it's an IPA because aren't they all? So I got this and I went out specifically to try and find something for this. I was going to get RGH last week had Celebration Brewing.
Okay.
Because of, coming towards the end. But I couldn't find any of that around here. So that's what I have. And you have your typical
just bourbon, bullet bourbon, right? In my patented, if you can see that on our YouTube, Nick, I don't like sand.
I don't like sand.
what are these called? Flasks. That's right. 8/19/17, the date of my buddy Bill's wedding. That was a nice little crack you had there.
Thanks. You know what's really funny? Speaking of weddings, I have this glass. This glass is vintage.
I'm ready for it.
This is from 9/20/97. Yes, right. 9/20/97. My friend,
you were married?
My friend Jerry Bradley. If you're listening to the show, he had a very awesome wedding. He spread it out over like 2 years. There was a whole big thing that they did. They had. I went with them to City Hall where they got married in front of the judge.
Okay.
And then I don't know how many months later they had the ceremony. And then a couple years later, they finally had their honeymoon a couple years later. So it was like a 2-year wedding thing that they had. So it was pretty funny.
You do you.
But yeah, this was from their wedding. And I was like, one time he posted something on Facebook about it. And it was
What's
like
the date?
9/20/97. So you were 3, right?
I was 10.
10.
No,
okay.
97, 9. I was 9. I would have turned 10 the next year.
Okay.
In October. So I was probably in 2nd or 3rd grade.
Yeah, I was in a wedding.
Yeah. No, 97. I was probably in 5th or 6th grade.
Okay. Still, I was in a wedding.
I always do the math by. I know 9/11 was my freshman year.
Okay.
Which is funny, by the way, because I'm entering a new phase of my life here, Rob, because as an educator, I've come up being known as the young guy.
Right, but you're losing that. No,
I'm not the young guy anymore. My marching band staff are both
11
don't years even younger than I am.
Don't even get me started on Luke, not Skywalker or Starkiller, from your marching band staff, who has replaced you at the middle school with us, because
Luke's great.
Luke's awesome. Don't get me wrong. He was rubbing into our other friend Mike and I's faces how he was born the year Mike started teaching.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
87? No, 97?
97, something like that.
Something like that.
Somewhere in there. And his first year in preschool was the year that I started teaching in the district that I'm in now. Now, I was teaching 3 years before that. His first year in preschool was my first year teaching. So
yeah, well, we were talking about something. I forget what. It's him and Gabby, my 2 staff members. And somehow, just this conversation we had where 9/11, I was a freshman in high school, popped up.
Yeah.
And they went, "You were a freshman in high school during 9/11?" I was like, "Yeah. When were you?" We were in kindergarten. And I was like, "Okay, I'm now
yep."
People are gasping at the fact that I was alive and conscious during a large. Yeah, I'm an old guy now.
Yeah, I've talked about it at school before. Like, we used to take kids on field trips every year to New York,
right?
And we would go to the World Trade Center and stuff like that. And the first couple of years that we went, it was very meaningful because they remember they were in school when 9/11 happened, and they remember and all that stuff. The kids that we have now,
it's like a historical event.
They're just
might as well be Pearl Harbor.
I was gonna say it's our Pearl Harbor. Yeah. To us, Pearl Harbor is something that happened before us. Not saying it's not important.
Right.
It doesn't have to. They didn't live it the way we lived it. Like people who lived Pearl Harbor, it's very emotional to them. And to me, it's not as I got older, I don't want to say appreciate it. I understand it a lot better now. But I don't know when Pearl Harbor Day is. Or
December 7th.
Yeah, I was going to say it's coming up soon. I knew that much.
There's only 2 reasons to know that. One, my senior recital in college was on December 7th.
Okay.
And 2, just I know in his opening speech on this day, December 7th. I think
it's like 1942 or something like that. Yeah, we'll go down in a day of infamy. I remember that.
And here we are, a Star Wars podcast.
Talking all about history.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You tune into our other, banter, actual history and BanthaMilk.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can catch us on a lot of different social media platforms.
Yes, you can.
And I happen to know someone who can tell you what they are.
Why don't you tell us?
I guess I can do that. Hey, if you're interested in more Star Wars info, want to chat, or even want to send us some Star Wars drink recipes, please be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms. You can catch us on Instagram and Facebook at BanthaMilk Podcast, Twitter at BanthaMilk. You can email us at banthamilkpodcast@gmail.com, or even check out our website, banthamilkpodcast.com.
And don't forget to check out our sister podcast over at the Ears Up Network. Our friends over at Ears Up help us a whole lot.
So give them and their many shows a
Oh
listen.
my God, that's going to be
Their
4
shows
hours.
include
Ears Up in Depth, The Supreme Resort, and Scraping the Vault. Also, be sure to check out their Patreon
at
patreon.com/ears with a Z up.
For as little as $2
a month, you can help support our
show.
Any donations sent their way directly help us here at BanthaMilk Podcast and comes with great perks. So please check
Them out today.
This is a mistake.
So when you're listening to podcasts, you can adjust the speed that you listen to it. One and a half speed, 2 speed, like it's really fast.
Sure.
So during that, I want everybody to listen to that thread at 2x speed because then it'll be like the worst of the chipmunks.
Yep. Oh yeah. Ooh, man, every time I feel like I hear one of those sped up things, I think of the Chipmunks Christmas album.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
which,
bad.
which is burned into my head.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, that's all our
Anyway.
social medias. You can find us on all of those things.
And also freestyle watches. Nick refuses to go Apple, so he doesn't get a freestyle watch band.
You're right about that.
But if you want to go Apple like I did, you can get a cool freestyle watch band. And in the show notes, we'll have a link to it. You get 10% off if you put into this. Click on the link and then type in BanthaMilk 10, and you get 10% off any freestyle purchase, whether you get a full old school watch or just the bands, whatever you want to get. You can get it all for 10% off.
Make sure you do that.
Make sure you do that.
I will tell you, I did find a watch band for my new Google Pixel that I really liked in the interim, and I ordered it.
Nice.
And they shipped it to my old address.
Oh no!
Which I guess I neglected to take off my Google account.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I was like, oh well, that's a bummer. Maybe I can call them. It was impossible to call them. And then they tried to deliver it and they kicked it back. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go. I got on my motorcycle and I'm like, I'm going to go get it at the post office. And I got there just after they had already returned the sender.
Oh no.
So now
I think they're going to say the post office was closed or something like that.
It was close though. Anyway, it was like a whole afternoon affair.
Yeah.
I was annoyed because I'm not home and I didn't even get my thing. Anyway.
So
I'll have to order one. Hopefully by that time I can get a freestyle one.
Yeah. Hold up those stickers also. If you want to, litter your town with some BanthaMilk stickers.
Not litter. This is guerrilla advertising.
Guerrilla advertising.
We are, like mom and pop stores.
Yes.
We are a mom and pop podcast.
We are. Who's the mom and who's the pop? That's the question.
I'll leave that up to the audience to interpret. I got to tell you, we both have beards, but it's 2021 or 2022. Wow, I can't even remember. And it's a progressive world.
It is a progressive world.
So we can all have beards.
We can.
That being said, we have these stickers. Right here, right? I have been guerrilla advertising around South Jersey. Respectfully, of course.
Of course.
About as respectfully as I can while, being accosted by people for money at a Wawa.
Right, exactly.
I figure if I'm going to be a motorcyclist and I have to be subject to every time I stop to get an espresso being hassled by someone for money, I can leave a sticker or two.
Exactly. Sure. Why not?
Corporate tax for being a corporation.
I
anyway.
agree.
You can let Rob know you want some.
Yeah.
Email us at banthamilkpodcast@gmail.com and we'll send you some.
That's right. Vendors Hockey said Alvin, Simon, Theodore. That's right. So do that. And also we hired, Nick doesn't know this yet because it's actually coming out of his salary. True story. I hired a social media director over the week. Little does this guy know that he gets paid the same thing that we get. So I'm sure he's, So I don't know how long it's going to last once he finds out that there is actually no paycheck. But on our social media, you may start seeing more posts from us. And that's because I hired my good friend, Rix Road. So follow him on Facebook as well if you want to. He posts a lot of funny things on there.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's been posting stuff for us as well.
Yeah. So Ears Up Corporate thought it'd be better if we had a handler because over the weekend, Rob went on our Twitter and he kind of went a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He started yelling at Star Trek fans.
I did.
He called Supreme Taco Resort some pretty unsavory things.
I did. It wasn't nice.
And so they figured, let's take Rob and Nick out of the equation and hire someone to handle them.
And I also I got blue checks for us.
I put
that on the Ears Up corporate card.
Well, that's messed up. We should have a gold check, right? Because we're a government entity.
We are a government.
Did you see that there's new?
No.
Now everyone gets a different color.
There's all these different colors.
The new thing is government entities get gold checks or someone gets gray checks. regular people get blue checks. Like you get a check.
You
get
get a check. You get a check.
Elon Musk is a crazy dude.
He sure is.
Oy.
So he's trying to figure out how to get all the
just
money
lo-
he can.
I just love like the fact that we're seeing all of this stuff play out in real time. It's like, hey, I'm gonna do a really stupid thing and try it. That didn't work.
Or-
Let's retract it and try it. Like
let's try it a different way.
Like maybe you could have workshopped some of these things.
Yeah, you
before
could
we
have
rolled them out.
tried it in a beta testing first with
Yeah.
a done a survey.
Yeah, Elon Musk is like the chaos factor.
He is
in America right now.
He is.
Unfortunately, although I don't know anyway. Let's move on from
Moving
that
on.
topic.
All right, we got some news. I have some fun news that I found. Our music guy just got real mad at you.
Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, the one we made, that's
Hold on.
fine. This is the real version.
So
There
I
we go.
had to play the actual version because Brian is a listener and he does great stuff.
He does
Thank you,
great
Brian.
stuff for us.
But Star Wars news.
Yeah, Star
lay
Wars
it on
news.
me, Rob.
I'm
What's
gonna.
happening in
One
Star
of the
Wars
best
world?
Star Wars games in years is free on Epic right now. The game that you got when it first came out, Star Wars Squadrons.
Squadrons, good game.
Yeah,
I never finished it, unfortunately. When I was playing it, there was a lot of glitches and there was a lot of long load times. I should give it another go.
You should give it another shot. But on Epic, it's available free on the Epic Game Store for the next week. So this and
One
this
problem
just,
with that is that you have to download the Epic Game Store, which
Yes.
is just annoying. Yeah, our Doug, everyone who listens hears about our fact checker Doug. He is several times talked about how amazing that game is, particularly in VR.
in VR. Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't have the money to get PlayStation VR or an Oculus Rift. But if you want to, donate to get us an Oculus Rift, you can check out check out our Patreon.
That's right.
Anyway,
OnlyFans.
no one wants that.
Nick sells feet pics.
Oh my
with,
God.
right next to R2D2. It's just
Can you imagine?
Star
You
Wars
know,
feet pics.
Honest to God, we could probably make a little money opening up an OnlyFans and just posting pictures of like Star Wars aliens. Feet.
Star Wars aliens feet. Yeah, why not? Just spray
That's
paint your feet different colors, and you could be like,
No, I don't even want. I mean, just like
from the show.
From the show.
Okay,
I
well,
don't know, man.
let's
I
do
think
it.
It's just crazy enough that people would be like, "That's kind of funny."
That's kind of funny. I will.
Or else we would make no money, and
That's
people would be
right.
like, "What is this? You're not a girl." Anyway.
Anyway,
So
so-
anyway, what we were saying.
so that was the first news article. You can get the show from
Yes,
Epic Games.
Epic Games. Star Wars
Squadrons for free. It's normally
worth it
$40,
for free, yeah, for sure.
but for free you can get it from Epic
Free
Games.
50,
Yep, free 50.
which is $12 less than Stardew Valley. Sorry that
Yes.
get so shocked.
So
by
I
the
was like,
sticker price.
I'm all getting ready to get it, and then and I saw like they have a mobile version.
Yeah, they do.
The mobile version is like $8, and I was like, I've never paid for a game ever on my phone. I don't think.
It's a very
Yeah.
it's a big game.
Yeah. So I was like, all
Lot
right,
to
well,
it.
let me check. So I downloaded the whole because I had it and then deleted it. The Steam. Yep. So I downloaded Steam and everything, and then I went and I found it. And it's on sale for $11.99, by the way. So if you
Yeah,
want to get it,
you can get it for like really cheap sometimes. I mean, I don't know if you ever use the Steam wish list,
no.
but if you want a game, you can put it
Okay.
in your wish list, and they'll email you when it's on sale on Steam.
That requires
hear
me
of-
to check my email.
That's
then
true. You ever hear of Kerbal Space Program?
Nope.
You would like Kerbal Space Program.
Okay.
Kerbal Space Program is literally just Kerbals. They're little green dudes.
Okay.
And you create rockets to go like shoot into outer space.
So far, I like it.
But it's like very realistic gravity and like
Oh, okay.
thruster situation. Like you have to really make this
Like,
an
yeah.
actual rocket.
Sure.
And you can go to the moon. You can orbit things. You can
Okay.
like again, it seems like it'd be something right up your alley.
Yeah, because I like all the physics and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
like the
that goes
real,
along
like
with
the
it.
ones that
Yeah.
actual. Yeah. So anyway, we were talking about Star Wars games.
Star Wars news.
move
Yeah.
on.
So I knew, and I even posted this comment on Ears Up Twitter account. But I don't know if you know, my Bob 1 is back. Bob 2 is out. Bob Paycheck, otherwise known as Bob
Yes, that's
Chapek,
right. Yeah, big news here.
Yes.
This is huge news.
has been replaced with
and
Bob
Bob.
Iger, who
Iger, I hardly know him.
Iger, he handpicked Chapek to take over for him.
Yeah.
They gave him this huge 3-year extension just a couple months ago. And then just a few months later, they go, "Man, we changed our mind. You're out," and Iger's back.
I
So
wonder what kind of an exit package they gave.
I
That guy.
oh
Probably
well,
enormous.
considering they gave him, and it's corporate America, so it's not like education where when you
Right.
get fired, you're out.
Right.
He signed like a 3-year
So
contract,
he's going to get that whole contract.
so he's going to get that whole
And then,
contract.
because of early termination, he's probably
Mhm.
eligible for some sort of a severance.
Yeah.
On top of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I mean, his bonus. This is what I mean. If we wanted to go on the Supreme Resort and talk to those guys about it, because they're like hardcore into this.
Right.
Just the corporate structure in America is just unbelievable. I mean, the president and the CEO. Now it's a huge Disney's a very huge organization.
sure.
Don't get me wrong; it's a billion-dollar company.
Right.
Like it's huge. But the CEO, his bonus that he got was more than what they could give all of the employees of Disney World and Disneyland $1 an hour raise, and they still wouldn't have touched what his 1-year bonus is.
Yep.
So it's ridiculous that the one person at the top makes that much more money than. I mean, the parks is where their bread and butter is right now. Like that's making all the money. Disney Plus is not making them money because they're spending so much on the shows that even though they have thousands and thousands and thousands of subscribers, they're not covering the cost of how much they're paying
Right.
for all these shows.
Right.
All their money's coming in through the parks. The people who work at the parks are getting like $12, $14 an hour, whatever it is, something not a lot of money, like not livable wage.
Sure.
But Iger at the top or Chapek at the top, his bonus is more than what everybody in the parks is making on a regular basis.
Yep. And they're not even, the ones that are bringing in the money.
Right. They're the ones
that are not
because if the
making it.
people on the ground are not happy and jolly, when you go to Disney World and you have these people who are grumpy, you're going to be like, I'm not going to go back. I'll go to Universal.
Here's what part of the problem is. And again, this goes deeper than just this topic. Because Disney has created such a cult of personality,
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows that you want to leave, there's the door. Someone
Yeah.
will be right here to replace
Someone
you.
else. Yeah. The parks
And they will
are
be
more
just as
full now.
jolly.
Yeah.
Like it, and that's the same way a lot of the way is in education. Like
Yeah.
we're losing a lot of teachers until now we're coming into a place where we're having a shortage, unfortunately. But for a long time, especially for like in the music world, there were so many music teachers out there.
Yeah.
Like if I were to go tomorrow, some would 100 people would apply for my job.
Yeah. There'd be 100 people applying for your job. Yeah.
So, and this is, we're getting off topic, which we do. Deal with it, people. Us.
That's
by
part
now.
of the banter.
But you talk about like this corporate structure being in the real world, our world. We get this skewed idea of what a lot of money is.
Mhm.
We make less than $100,000 a year, and we're told that that's plenty.
Right.
When it's not.
Yeah.
And I have friends who are in the private world who work in high paying stuff, and I hear them talking about $40,000 signing bonuses. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, yeah. I teach my kids.
I went to the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Clearly, $40,000 is more than half of what I make in a year.
Yeah.
Like,
I teach my kids about coding. When I teach them about coding, when you get hired at Google or whatever, you're getting $10, $20, $40,000 signing bonuses.
Right.
And I tell the kids, you know what my signing bonus was? A half-eaten donut.
Yeah.
They go, really? I go, no, I didn't even get that.
Didn't even get that.
Didn't even get that.
Nope.
But I knew as soon as going back to Iger and Chapek, as soon as Chapek got fired, that the rumors would start of all the other people getting fired.
And there's also the rumor that, I don't know, I read this, I'm sure rumors are going wild, but there's the rumor that Disney is going to sell to Apple.
Yes, I heard
which
that.
I think is crazy.
And I
Disney's
heard
enormous. Do you really think they want to
AMC.
sell
No,
themselves?
Disney's not going to sell them. But I also heard that Disney's going to buy AMC,
Okay.
the movie theater chain. I don't know why they would do that, but
Interesting.
but they're going to do that. So
there's definitely going to be some shakeups. I would imagine things are going to change.
Yeah.
They don't change the head of the company if they want things to stay the same. I think Kathleen Kennedy next, maybe.
Yeah. So that's what this article is here, and this is what I posted on Ears Up, because Jason hates like rumor stories.
Sure. So as do we mentioned.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time.
We could sit here and talk about all the rumors, and we would be able to do a podcast every day.
Yeah.
But who wants to listen to the crap
when it's all bogus?
Yep.
So, he posted something about the Chapek and Iger and stuff, and there was a couple other like rumors that were tied into it, whatever. And I said, well, is this an appropriate time to start the Kathleen Kennedy rumor that she's going to be fired? And of course, here it is on some website, marca.com. Marsa. Disney has rumored plans to remove Star Wars lead producer Kathleen Kennedy. When you have to put in that they have rumored plans,
Right. It's not even that they are rumored to be doing it. It's rumored that they have plans.
To do it. Yeah. So it's like here's a whole fake article, all because, and they wrote the word rumored in it. So when it doesn't happen, doesn't matter. They're not giving you false information. They're just telling you what the rumor is.
Hey Rob, I just heard that the new Star Wars movie is going to center completely around me as a character. Let's go. Rumor.
Nick DeSalvio to star as Self in a new Star Wars movie.
In a one-man show.
Directed by Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, that's right. Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
Do a collab.
Mm-hmm.
Me and those two.
And your character.
Tom Amin is going to do the music.
He will.
Appreciate you, Tom. Anyway, look
and
for
you
that
are
only at AMC theaters.
Only at AMC theaters. Only in AMC theaters.
And on your Apple devices, they're gonna zap it to your phones, just like YouTube.
It's just like the U2,
We're all still
album.
a little pissed off about
Yeah,
that.
I was like, hey, I like U2, so I'll take their free album. I don't care. But
I think at that point, I was still on Apple products. I think I had an iPhone at that point, and I think I was a little annoyed. I'm not a big U2 fan.
Okay.
And I'm not a big fan of just finding things on my just like, what is this?
Yeah.
What?
Wait, I got an update, and the whole update was that I had to download this U2 album. Yeah.
It's like when you get like the Samsungware and the bloatware on your phone, but it's U2 bloatware.
Yeah. So that was
Bob Iger, Bob Paycheck.
Chapek.
Paycheck.
Paycheck. It's all the same.
I mean,
Yeah. So those two guys, if we just, as long as you put the word rumor in the article, you can write an article about whatever you want.
That's the truth. And we will.
Speaking of other ridiculous articles, the Disney Star Cruiser is now, Disney World is already discounting Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser resorts. Sorta. That's the title.
Is it the sorta in parentheses?
No, it's ... sorta.
Period or exclamation point?
Just period. It would have been better if it was exclamation point because you need to have an exclamation point in your title.
I am an overuser of exclamation points.
I love exclamation points.
I often go back through my emails to find the points where I need to remove exclamation points.
Yes. Yeah, because you have too many of them.
Yes. Like not every word needs to be shouted.
Capital. So if you do capitals, all caps, and exclamation points, are you like yelling, "I'm king of the world"?
Yeah, it's like you're shouting from the mountaintops.
There you go. I understand. So here's how this sorta discount is taking place.
Let's hear it. Land on me.
And this is also paragraph 14 into the article.
Of course, you had to read through everything you already
knew. Yes, all about it. So this brings us to the present, as Walt Disney World has released the first discount on Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser resorts. Kind of. Here are the details. Eligible Disney Vacation Club members.
Okay, so number one, you have to be in Disney Vacation
You have to be in the
Club.
DVC, yes.
Okay, go on. Are you a member of that?
I am not.
Okay.
Jimmy over Supreme Resort, or Taco Supreme, he is.
Supreme?
So Jimmy, get on this. Can enjoy 30% off original point chart values on select 2-night voyages.
Wait, what does that mean? Point
so
chart?
They don't, when you become a Disney Vacation Club member, you're not actually getting money towards your hotels, you're getting points towards your hotels. So you pay money and then they give you points.
Okay, so what you're saying is for these Disney Club members, for this discount,
right,
they will be getting a 30%
off of the number of
points it would require for them to earn to go to Disney Club.
So say it's 100 points for
do we
Disney.
know how many points it is?
I don't know.
Okay. I would love to know the equation of how much money you need to spend in order to qualify.
And
of course, this
article won't tell you that.
Not tell you that, of course. Because why would you do the legwork?
No, because that's actual facts and legwork and stuff.
Anyone out there who's a Disney fan,
DVC, Disney
member?
Vacation Club.
I want you to let me know how much you would have to spend at Disney parks in order to qualify for this.
Yes. So, and it also There it starts at 200, and I think there's just talking about the club payments. 295. All right, hold on. The reason the kind of sort of describing the discounts because it's not a good deal. Technically, this is 30% off the previous offer for Disney Vacation Club members. So as compared to that, it's a better offer. However, if resellers were to mark up Taylor Swift tickets by 3%, then or reduce them 30% off, it would actually be a discount or would it from very okay.
So you're saying they increased the price?
They start at 295 Disney Vacation Club points per person, and that's based on double occupancy. For those of you who aren't DVC members, let's put these numbers into perspective. A standard view studio at the Boardwalk Villas would cost 85 points for an entire week in May versus 349 points per person for a weekend voyage at Star Wars Galactic Star Cruisers.
So you need 349
points
and
per person.
It's 85 points for the week
at a hotel.
At a hotel.
Right.
How much is like a week at a hotel?
It's like somewhere between $100 and $200 a night.
Let's call it $200 times 1 week, which is 7, right?
7, yeah.
So that's $1,400 gets you 85.
Get you 85
and
points.
you need what?
349.
349 divided by 85 is 4 or 5 or 4. It's about 4, right? So we're talking $1,200 times 4. You need to spend you're getting a $200 discount.
So you wind up getting a $200 discount.
$4,800, and it would normally cost $5,000.
Right. Yes. Oh no, that's per person. I think 349 points per person.
Okay, so $4,800 per person.
Yeah, so those numbers can't be right. That's ridiculous if that's the case.
That means you would have to spend
because it's
$10,000.
Yeah, because it's 18
to qualify, which doesn't shock me, honestly.
No, but it's $1,800 a person for the normal ticket for these 2 days. So for a family of 4, it's like $5,000 for a family of 4.
That's a family of 4. Okay.
Yeah. So this is saying it's 349 points per person for a weekend voyage as Galactic Star Cruiser. If that's the case, you're spending way too much money.
You might as well just buy the tickets at that point.
Might as well just buy the tickets regularly at that point.
But, Disney,
yeah.
the mouse
so
will get you.
If both Eric and Jimmy, who are from the Supreme Resort, are both part of Concierge, which is a awesome Disney parks, and they're now branching out into other things. Travel, what's the word I'm looking for? Travel agency type of thing. They mostly focus on Disney, but they've been also booking for Universal and cruises and things like that as well. So maybe they can clear this up for me, and maybe by our next show we'll have everything accurate as to how much it actually will cost point wise versus the actual trip. But so right now, supposedly there's a 30% discount if you're a DVC member. And that is good if you're a DVC member and want to use all your points on a 2-night stay instead of a whole week stay. And then the other thing that I had was, it was pretty dumb, but Disney Parks posted it. Somehow they tricked this girl. She was taking pictures and posing in front of the Millennium Falcon with her lightsaber.
Okay.
And her boyfriend was standing behind her. And then the photographer told her to turn around so that we can get another action shot of you spinning around. And as she turned around, her boyfriend was proposing to her.
Sure.
So, of course,
Classic.
yeah. So it was a big news day for Disney and for Star Wars. So that's it for the news. So go ahead and close us out.
I will do that right now.
Star Wars.
And at this mark, we will go to the bathroom or just take a...
That's your bathroom break.
That is a bathroom break, or just take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
And we're back.
That's what my toilet sounds like when I flush it.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be cool to have a Darth Vader toilet that breathed.
I feel like there'd be a lot of acoustics at play in order to make that
would
happen.
be pretty cool to make that happen. Yeah.
Anyway.
Anywho.
So this is probably the part of the show where we should start talking about the topic.
The topic of the show, which is Rix Road. Andor episode 12, Rix Road season finale.
Season 1,
Season
episode
1,
12.
Episode 12.
Finale of our first season of Andor. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of it, overall impressions, Rob? What do you think?
I loved it.
Loved it.
I loved it. It was a great. I thought it was a great conclusion to the really, really good storytelling.
Yes, I agree. I think that it's really interesting because the way this show is set up, it's so different from every other Star Wars show
Yep.
we've gotten. And I think we've been trained to go, all right, season finale, they're going to drop some big crap on us. Like some
Yeah.
crazy, like, someone big is going to show up, someone we know, some sort of a,
Right.
but like that didn't happen.
No Luke Skywalker appearing,
yeah,
cutting through Death Troopers.
Yeah, no Ahsoka sighting and none of that. And I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think as Star Wars fans, we become too accustomed to that.
Yep.
At not, and it's worked. Thankfully, it's always worked. But I think in order to break this cycle of constantly just regurgitating the same old stories, we have to get to a point where, like, sometimes the climax of the story is simply just the climax of the story.
Right.
It's not like a big, Deus Ex Machina of someone saving the day who's really famous. It's just all of these boiling tensions from the season coming
to an end.
And the fact that it's a finale is because it was a great story that we want to continue. So I think that's what we got here.
Who's
and
the
I'm excited about it.
writer? Tony
Shalhoub?
Nope. Tony Shalhoub.
Montana?
Tony Montana. Tony Gilroy.
Oh, that
Tony
guy.
Gilroy was a writer. He directed a lot of them. Creator, producer, all that good stuff. He did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Did a phenomenal
The
job.
writing in particular, I think, was the strongest suit of the whole season.
Yeah. And the other thing that I found out doing the research for this episode, Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, they did a lot of the filming in the Void, which is the volume, that
right.
giant LCD screen display, which is amazing in its own right.
Right.
Especially Rix Road and what's the name of this planet that they're on? Ferrix. They built this whole town and this whole set. Now, yes, there's a lot of green screen around it when they do the giant city, but all the street work and everything,
it's all built.
It's all built, which is why you were able to have so many people on set, so many extra background characters walking around. I felt like there was like 2 or 3 dog cages that went by. There was like droids with like boxes with holes in it and stuff. And I'm like, that looks like a dog crate or something like that. But because it was at a physical place, it wasn't just in a studio. You're able to have so much more depth, and even in the scenes, all this extra depth and all this. So it was really cool that they went really like old school with that.
And we see that with every show. The more they do that practical sort of stuff, the better it is.
Yeah.
And the volume was awesome for what it was. So I'm not upset about any of the stuff
No,
we saw in that.
No, not at all.
I think especially because Ferrix was such an important
Mhm.
set.
Yeah.
Such an important place for this season. It makes sense that they made the whole
and
city,
I know you haven't been there, but Ferrix reminds me a lot of Galaxy's Edge.
Okay.
And I've said it a couple of times.
Mhm.
Just the architecture of it and everything is really cool. So I was very happy, and it was almost like they could have walked through Galaxy's Edge and said, okay, we're going to steal this and steal that
Right.
and whatever, to go to build into the set. But the set was amazing. I really liked it. I loved the crescendo, the build up until the breaking point. And it wasn't even like the breaking point was a giant rebellion.
Right.
It was more like a protest in the streets that we've all lived through, and we've seen, hundreds of them throughout our time of all these different protests. And that's what it was basically like. As Luthen said in the beginning, we need the people to get so frustrated with the Empire that they finally start to fight back.
Yep.
And this was that breaking point for the people of Ferrix.
And again, you forget that this is not a planet-wide sort of thing. This is a galactic scale that we're talking. So like the stakes are relatively low, right?
Mhm.
In that it's a small scale thing, but that's the whole point of this entire conflict, is that it's all of these small things that all of a sudden become one large thing.
Yeah.
And I think they even allude to that in the episode,
Mhm.
that like the small sparks are what start the great revolution.
Yeah. And like the fact that the Empire just wants to come in and make every planet Coruscant.
Mhm.
Like we're gonna take whatever we need from you. We don't care what your traditions are. They did it again in this episode. We don't care that this woman died and that your traditions are this. We're giving you 30 minutes. We're giving you 30 people. That's all you get. You can't do your thing the normal way.
They brought a
We're-
couple more than 30.
They did. They did.
wound up bringing a couple
They
more.
want to bring in a little bit more, and it was even more than the 40 that they agreed upon. So
And it is cool to see because, like, what's the Imperial officer's name? The girl.
Deidre,
Deidre, yeah.
Dedra.
Yeah, she, like, I feel like leading up to this, she felt so confident. Like, that
Mhm.
she set this up perfectly. Like, I have them right in my trap.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool. The cool thing about seeing it from all these angles is that everyone had an idea of what was going to happen, and it just didn't happen.
It was
neither way.
it was the typical Mike Tyson quote. Everybody has a game plan until you
Until
get
you
punched in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
then-
that's what happened. These Imperials, these Empire people got punched in the face, and then all of the not the soldiers as much as the
the
officers.
yeah.
All the officers started like cowering and were like running and hiding and everything like that. And it was really funny. They knew what they were doing. They got punched in the face,
Yeah, we
and
have our
suddenly
orders. Wait, we didn't have orders for this.
well, I don't know what to do now. All
Yeah,
right,
And so their default mode was just, all right, kill everyone. Let's
kill
go.
everyone. Yeah, just kill them all. All right, so that's our. Let's break it down.
Let's break it
down.
That's gonna blast someone in the car.
It sure
Someone's
will.
gonna
They're
be
gonna
upset.
they're gonna weave and
Sorry about that,
swerve
buddy.
and stuff.
Sorry,
Yeah.
whoever you are, I apologize. Anyway,
So first scene, we see this kid building a bomb.
yeah, it's pretty clear that was a bomb. Like
That was- yeah.
as he's building, I'm like, what is he build? Oh, that's a bomb.
Oh, that's a
Like,
bomb.
That's gonna be a bomb.
And I was
So this is this. I forget his name. But
Wilmore or
Will,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
because his dad got killed, hanged, right?
Yeah, it was his friend, maybe it was his dad. But we've seen him in the background. He's been in
Right.
4 other episodes so far. He's been in the background. And it was either his boss or his dad or just his
Some
friend,
sort of
whatever.
a father figure.
Yeah, to
to
him.
him was hanged, and here is like Star Wars' way of showing you what actually happens in real life, where hey, this kid got radicalized,
Yeah.
because his dad got killed. Like,
Yeah.
like you don't think about it necessarily. Oh, of course, this kid, he's angry, but like that, you think about real world. That's how it happens. Right?
Yeah.
That's how
Oh
the
yeah, 100%.
radicalizing happens.
And so I was hoping that we were gonna find out that he was something from canon, and he becomes, or he's somebody from, that helps either blow up the Death Star later on or something like that. But he's not. And
No.
so part of me was kind of like I was really hoping for a lot more of those deep Easter eggs that
Right.
we could talk about on this show. Like this guy was in this book and in this and blah blah blah. But all of these new vital people, even Mon Mothma's now
Daughter's betrothed.
daughter's
right?
betrothed.
That was one where I was specifically thinking, all right, maybe they're going to show us, oh my gosh, her daughter is going to be connected to this person somehow. And I was like, who's this? I don't know who this is.
And it was nobody. It was somebody that they just created for the show as well.
Yeah.
So I was really hoping all these little things were going to be really deep Easter eggs that we could be like, and here's what it is, and we can't.
No.
So thanks for that, Tony. So he obviously in season 2 we're going to see more of him, and he'll probably become a bigger part of season 2. But he's
Right.
not even a character that was in Andor or in Rogue One.
Right.
So, but anywho, so we see him building a bomb, and it was neat because in the beginning they keep cutting back and forth as everything is building up to the start of the funeral, and how all these different people are preparing for it. So then
I don't think the fact that, like, again, we go to Deidre, like they're cutting to Deidre, and
Yeah.
they're cutting to a couple of the undercover ops on either side. They're cutting to Stellan Skarsgård's character. They're cutting to Cashin. And again, they always keep coming back to this kid who's building a bomb.
who's still building
I
a
mean,
bomb?
So that
Yeah.
tension is not only building, but it's also saying, oh, look at all these people. And, oh, here's a bomb. All of this stuff is eventually going to blow
Going to
up.
blow up. Yeah, 100%. Because then, like I said, Deidre lands and she has a smug look on her face still, and then it cuts to Bricks, and she's still. I feel bad for her. I hope throughout the second season she's able to
I can't
somehow,
imagine they would have saved her if she wasn't going to somehow come back a little bit.
yeah, get her brain back a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah,
She's all scrambled up. for
she is
sure,
all
but-
scrambled up. That's for sure. And then I was trying to figure out what Deidre was. Deidre was staring at a door, and I thought she was trying to figure out what her room key code was, and I'm like, what is she doing? Just standing.
She was just looking longfully.
Look, yeah, and then I realized that there was a little display there, and she was the camera in watching bricks on the inside. So I was like, okay. And then we go back to the bomb building guy, and he's got a hologram of his friend or father figure there. So he's like reminding
for you,
himself,
Pa.
this is for you, yeah. And then Cashin's two friends, Brasso and Zanwan, are talking about, because Zanwan's the one who answered the phone call when Cashin,
Right.
the guy, the idiot. Cash, is that you? No names. Okay, Cash, and I won't
Yeah.
use your name.
Yeah.
Like, shut up.
And of course, this is right after, like, isn't the guy about to tell him, like, oh, don't tell anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep it hush hush, right?
Yeah.
And what does he do?
And well, yeah, and then and also the third guy, Nurchi, whatever.
How's it spelled?
And I spelled it my own
Oh,
way,
okay.
but he was the guy that Andor that Cashin owed money to.
Right. But didn't he pay his debts?
He did pay his debts,
But I guess he wasn't.
but he
satisfied.
still wasn't happy. He wanted more money because
What a deal we.
yeah, because the Empire was paying people for information.
Sure.
So he was listening to those two talking, and then he says, "Oh, what I'll do is I'll get him drunk, so he'll tell me more stuff." Because Zanwad is an idiot. And then I called him the dumb spy. As he's walking through town, like everybody in town knows you're a spy.
Yeah,
You just
he's not-
stand out.
Not exactly hiding it.
Not exactly hiding it. He's talking into his walkie-talkie. He's just like walking around all day, not doing anything productive.
Hello, fellow citizens.
Oh, where are you going
Feeling
to
about your
work?
day?
Me too. I'm going to walk over here
Noticed any
now.
resistance recently? Ha, ha, ha.
Have you seen that guy cashing that around?
Yeah,
anywhere?
you can. If you have, great. No, don't worry.
Don't worry about it. But if you see him,
Let me know.
I heard he's really good at cards. I want to play a game of cards with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you're here. So he's constantly walking around, and then and then he's walking around town with Deidre,
Sure.
and of course, her disguise is a hood,
Right.
which is the same thing as Luthen's disguise, which is just a hood.
Right.
Like, it just makes me laugh. If somebody has a hood up, they're in disguise.
Yeah, I feel like in a town that is run by like militaristic folks, like in a dictatorship sort of thing,
yeah.
they would tell anyone
With a hood up,
take your damn hood down.
take your hood
Like,
down. Yeah.
like, nope.
No.
Oh, look at that guy with hood. Probably nothing suspicious. Going
Yeah,
on
that
over
guy
there.
with the hood, he's not going to do anything
fine.
bad whatsoever. He's fine. And then
And by the way, freaking I always forget his name. Stellan Skarsgård's character.
Luthen.
Luthen. Gosh, it's not even that hard. He puts the hood up to get on his bike,
hmm
and then the hood just stays right there, man.
How does the hood?
It's just like
It was just like what was the guy from The Office? Danny Cordray.
Danny Cordray, yeah.
When he was on the bike, his hair didn't move at
Yeah.
all. I was like, wow, whatever hair products they have.
Not Cad Bane. No.
He was not Cad Bane. He was.
No, what was his name? It's gonna annoy me.
We'll have to come to it later.
Yes.
So yeah. So then. Oh, and then. Not Cyril. Cyrix. What's the girl? Cinta. Cinta was following them. Cinta.
Cobb Vanth.
Cobb Vanth. There you go. Cinta is really good at blending in, and I was even saying how Cinta got a job at the bar across the street from Marva's house,
Right.
so she could be watching, but at the same time doing something,
Right.
rather than this guy
Who's just watching.
who's just walking around and watching. So you're an idiot. So at that point, then that's when Nurchi gets Zanwan to tell him all about his cashing coming. And then we go back to the bomb building guy again. And then Mon Mothma's in the car with her husband. And this was a
Yeah.
great scene
Yeah.
because at first I was like, this guy's a spy. And then it hit me. Oh,
She's doing it on purpose.
you're doing it
yeah.
on purpose.
I had the same thing because I kind of forgot that she had remembered he was a spy.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you need to be smarter than this. Like, you need to know. But then I'm like, oh wait,
Yeah.
that's right. She's a
So at first she's talking about
It's gambling,
she's
right?
yelling at her husband for gambling, and he's like, "I'm not gambling." She's like, "I know you are," and I'm like, "Okay, why is she arguing?" And then it hit me because she's trying to show the Empire why all their money is gone, and it's
Right.
gone not because she's funneling it into the Republic,
But because he's gambling.
but because he's gambling it away, and it works because in a couple scenes
Which
later,
is funny because like we're not meant to like this guy, right? We're like this is a character that we're meant to not like.
yeah,
But it really isn't very fair.
no,
Like we're watching this happen, and it's like what like as a character, like it's not fair of like for this guy, like he actually didn't do that.
yeah,
And I like
yeah,
but and she knows that.
and she knows it, but she's also between this and at the end when her daughter's becoming married to
Right.
the gangster son, she's throwing away her whole
Everything.
family
Yep.
for the Republic.
Yep.
So when you see her later on leading Star Wars, you know she gave up everything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Luthen's speech two episodes back. What did I give up? Everything.
Yep.
She literally is now giving up everything. Not that she cared about her husband too much.
It's funny too, considering like her and Luthen butt heads so much, but like you see her more and more becoming Luthen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I wonder if we'll see because Mon Mothma is considered this big like symbol of hope and stuff. I wonder if we'll see like a darker side to her in season 2.
Yes, that would be really cool. Like a grittier side to her. It was funny. She's talking about her husband gambling, and she says, "You can go to Canto Bite and gamble all you want there." I
Right.
so wanted her to say your favorite planet of all time,
Nar Shaddaa,
Nar Shaddaa, but of course,
which is actually a moon, but that's okay.
oh, okay. You well now I know. Yes.
It's
But-
a moon of Nal Hutta,
Oh, okay.
which again, the hut space. Like you
Yeah.
think we'd be going there,
Yeah.
but no. I guess they're trying to like remind us about Episode 8
Right.
because that's where they went.
Because that's where, and it was a cool casino
Yeah.
that we did see.
Yeah.
So they did tie it into an existing casino that
Right.
is in the Star Wars movies.
And that also kind of goes to like more world building. Like, hey, in 30 years after the Battle of Yavin, Canto Bite is like a hotbed for casino activity and stuff. Apparently, back here it was still.
yeah,
So, like, this is a place that was pretty clearly unaffected by the politics of the galaxy because it was
Right.
probably already pretty corrupt.
so it was like Atlantic City from the time it was invented until online gambling came out,
Exactly.
and then
Wait,
there it is, the demise of Atlantic City as we know it.
yeah, Gotta do it.
So then this was a Cinta comes running into her house and Vale's there. Vale, whatever, the other girl. I want to say
Val?
Vale. Val is there. She's already in her house, but Cinta is so focused on what her job is of watching and waiting
Right.
for Andor because we have to kill him before he tells the Empire all of our secrets.
Right.
She's like, "Oh, hi, honey, you're here, but I still have to do. Look, there. This is happening, and that's happening, and this and that." And Vale's like, "Hello, like my cousin who's running this thing doesn't want me to do this.
Right.
You are on the extreme also, so she's getting pushed out of everything. So you can see that Vale was not happy at Cinta." And Cinta was so focused on her job, and she knew like this is the time. If she takes her eyes off of it for 1 second, she could miss Andor going into the house or whatever. And then as that's going on, we see Andor in the alleyway at night, touching the wall of his father,
Right.
and then having a flashback. A, no back to tanks, and B, it was a meaningful flashback.
That's it. Immersion ruined.
Yeah.
Can't even watch it anymore.
Can't even watch it anymore.
Meaning in a flashback and no back to. I'm out.
I'm out. I'm out. If you're gonna do it the right way, I don't want to see it. I only want to see dumb,
Give me
meaningless,
back to or give me
pointless.
nothing.
Yeah. So
Anyway, flashback to him and his dad.
yeah, and him telling him all
Clem.
about the Clem, telling him all about the rebellion and all this stuff, and basically
And cleaning engine parts.
cleaning engine parts and talking about how
The old rusty
this is
bits are
us,
still
or
okay.
the rusty bits. But all you need is just a little bit of cleaning. You do this, you do that, and it'll be working. And then that's what we are. We need to be this.
Yep.
And so it was a very
Life lessons
important.
with Pa.
Yes, exactly. So make that a note to anytime you want to do a flashback. You don't need back to, and if you're going to do a flashback, make sure it has something to do with what's happening now, not just a meaningless flashback to have it. And then Cashin sneaks into the junkyard, and his friend Pegla is there. Pegla is there, and it was Brix's junkyard.
Who kicked him out of that junkyard at one point, right?
Yes, and the guy who said, So Peglet kicked him out. It was after Andor like borrowed the spaceship,
Right.
and then he was like, "I can't help you anymore." And then what does he do this entire episode?
He helps him.
Helps him the whole episode.
What a guy.
What a guy.
And doesn't Peglet die?
Peglet does
Or
not.
the other one dies.
The other
The one
Zanwan.
yeah,
Zanwan, he dies.
That was
yeah.
sad. That was a sad.
Yeah, that was a sad moment because
But I feel like they hesitated on his dead face for just a
Just
second too long.
a little too long.
I'm like, all right, he's dead.
yeah, like
I'm
I'm like, is he going to get up?
Yeah.
Like
I feel like that was their way of saying no, he's dead. See, he's not
no,
moving.
he is not moving.
I could have gotten that with 2 seconds.
Two
less.
seconds less, exactly.
They had a couple seconds left to fill at the end of the episode.
Right, they're like, oh, it's only 46 minutes. We
Yeah,
need to make it 47.
We're not allowed to have any more than 7 to 8 minutes of credits. So
right.
We
So
gotta
we need
push
to pick this up. So Bix is supposed to be there, but Cashin doesn't know, so he's asking what's going on with Bix, and basically they tell us without telling us what's going on. Then we hear a voiceover, and it was Nemec. If you watch the closed captioning, it said Nemec, and I was like, oh, who's Nemec? I completely forgot who
Right.
Nemec was. Nemec was the young kid when they did the raid, the one
Right.
that was all in and whatever. And Cashin was reading his journal. As he was reading his journal, we're seeing different people building up to this resistance.
Right.
So first we see Bix with her suffering, and when we're focusing on her, it's saying there will be times when the struggle seems impossible. I know this already. Alone, unsure, dwarfed by the scale of the enemy. And then we go to Luthen. He's looking at the city from afar.
Right.
Remember this. Freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction. Random acts of insurrection are occurring constantly through the galaxy. There are something I wrote wild armies, but that's not right. There are little whole armies. That's it. There are whole armies, battalions that have no idea that they've already enlisted in the cause. And then it's Andor now reading his little data pad. He had a little small. It was almost like a Game Boy. It was a shuffle. It was a data pad shuffle. Remembering that the frontier of the rebellion is everywhere, and even the smallest act of insurrection pushes our lines forward. And remember that the Imperial needs control. Remember this: the Imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. It breaks, it leaks. Authority is brittle. Oppression is the mask of fear. Remember that, and know this. The day will come when all their skirmishes and battles with moments of defiance will have flooded the banks of the Empire's authority, and then there will be one too many, one single thing that will break the siege. Remember this. Try.
I mean, with like what's going on in Russia and what's going on in Iran.
Yeah.
Like again, just this speech itself, like, is so like emblematic of the real world.
Yeah.
You know, in so many times in the past and so many times now. Kind of a shame that the people of Russia and Iran will never see or hear this,
right?
Because they are not allowed to watch Disney probably in their country. But it is interesting, like how like they're really they're leaning into this idea of rebellion and how like real it is, you know what I mean? And how it is existing and has existed. I don't know, it's pretty cool.
And I also think as this speech was going, this was the point that Andor was like, all right, I'm back in.
Yep.
Like, I think, and that's why he wanted, Nemec wanted Andor to have his journals.
Right.
Because he knew that if Andor read his journals, that he would be 100% on board. So I thought it was like, you could almost see Andor's face turning, like, all right.
And that's all good writing. You know, it comes down to how we've been talking about how good the writing is. You know, and how that writing is reflected in the actual on-screen stuff. You know what I mean? Like the relationship that the writing has with the videography. You know what I mean? How it was just really. It was
really good. So from that we go to the IBS showing how the ISB.
If you have IBS, but preparation age does feel better. On the whole.
The ISB showing how they're going to control the funeral and how they're going to contain it. And I'm like, Like if they would have just left it alone,
It would have just been fine.
it would have been fine.
They would have done the funeral. They would have gone home.
Even with Marva's speech, I think they would have been angry, but they wouldn't have been as angry.
They might have gone, "Hey, she's right. Let's talk about that."
Yeah,
They wouldn't have been like, "Hey, she's right. Let's
they
throw
probably
down."
would have like thrown rocks at the hotel if they would have just like barricaded their hotel and just stayed in their hotel. They probably would have thrown rocks at it and then gone away.
Yeah,
But
no.
because there was such a force there, and because they were being so restrictive, because they wanted to catch Andor, they didn't care about anything else other than they wanted to catch Andor. So they were going to put them in the smallest possible space.
It also harkens back to seconds earlier when they're talking about how tyranny requires constant effort.
Yeah.
Right. They had to control every single
aspect
of what
of
was
it.
going on there.
Yeah.
And they missed a spot. You know what I mean? And that one vulnerable spot.
That was
wound up being-
the crack in the dike, the crack in the wall. That
it was that kid with the
it was
with the bomb.
yeah.
That was it, man.
And that's what put it over the top. But
Yep.
yeah. So then Blevin and Cloris are talking about the conversation in the car, which was her driver
Right.
was now talking to Cloris,
Right.
which was the other ISB guy. They're back on Coruscant. So I mean, this was almost a throwaway scene. It was short enough that it didn't matter.
Right. It might be setting some future
But it's probably
stuff up.
setting something, for season 2, because once Deidre started getting her way, Cloris was kind of like just a backstory character at that
Right.
point. But that's probably building up for season 2.
Yeah, he's gonna be a rival for
Right.
sure to
And
Deidre.
especially now
Now
that
she messed up.
she
so
messed
th-
up in this
yeah.
scene, this funeral went so
Yeah,
bad.
we're gonna see episode 1, season 2 of the fallout probably for her
Yes.
of her enormous blunder here, and the fact that all these people died and they didn't catch Andor.
Nope.
And there was this big rebellion, and there was, we're gonna see.
Yeah, that's going to be the first,
and he's gonna capitalize.
he's
for
going to
sure.
capitalize on it, and yeah. So then I wrote down, this is when Mon Mothma basically threw her husband under the bus
Yep.
to throw off the ISB. And then the Krieger battle plans worked perfectly.
Yep.
Krieger is dead. And so everybody's happy. It was mostly the Emperor. The Emperor wanted to show Palpatine needed to kill everybody.
They keep talking about the Emperor. I'm wondering if at some point we're gonna see the Emperor, even if it's like in the background, giving it like
On the other side of a screen.
it just feels like they don't use him enough. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
an important character, and he is really technically the big bad of the entire thing. But like all these like kind of like Easter eggs and these like bring this in for that's that person. The big bad of the entire series, they don't have that much.
Right.
So like I feel like I would love to, like, that makes total sense. He's the political leader of the entire galaxy. This would be a good space for him to
But
do
how
something.
often do you think the president of the United States goes down to the FBI branch in Minnesota?
Fair.
You know, like this is just one of the ISB branches.
And I guess that's part of what this is that it's a smaller scale
Yeah.
thing. And that's why I think maybe even it was just like, again, just a speech. Like
Yeah.
even if they like it was like one of these like very like in the cartoons they talk about how like they're whitewashing basically the empire. You know, we have the Imperial March, but it's in a major key and everything's great. Even if it was like, you know, Palpatine, but like he looks not as crazy and he's like giving a happy speech.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, look at this controlled message they're sending out from the Emperor, you know.
Or even just a picture of Palpatine on the wall.
Yeah.
With a sign that says our supreme leader.
Right.
You know,
Just
why
like,
not?
I mean, look at North Korea. They got Kim Jong-un everywhere.
Everywhere.
Just
giant.
billboards
Yeah. Yeah. So So I don't know. But yeah, I agree.
Basically what the galaxy is right now, right? Is space North Korea.
Space North Korea, exactly. 100%. So they're all happy except for Deidre. Deidre is not happy.
She's unhappy.
She says, well, dead man tell no tales.
Yep.
She's like,
They're like, get over yourself, dude. It's
Yeah.
fine.
We should have had left somebody so that we could interrogate them, which it makes sense. Like,
Yeah, because like if they interrogated someone, they might have found out about, you know,
That
the fact that this
Krieger
was,
wasn't Ajax,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Or,
Axis.
from now on,
Axis is now named
Axis
Ajax.
is Ajax. That's it. So anyway, yeah, they don't
This
realize
episode brought to you by Ajax.
Yeah, we like so many corporate sponsorships we should get.
I know.
Anyway, Luthen is Ajax.
Luthen is Ajax.
So yeah, she's upset, but like the mansplainers in the room basically say, "Get over it and make sure that we get a cash in," which
Yeah.
she doesn't.
I'll get cash in, don't worry. So then the next scene we see Luthen going into town. He's going in on his little speeder bike
Right.
instead of taking the bus, which is what Cyril and his friend did.
Hey man, I get it. I have my bike outside. I get it.
Yeah. I wrote down the spy is so dumbly since it got a job to watch the house. And then Brasso and Andor meet up in the alleys. Brasso tells him all the nice things that his mom said and that he will be an unstoppable force for good. And she
Right.
did tell him how much she loved him, which even though Andor said the last time we talked, we argued, but he did say when he was leaving, he said, "You got to come with me." And she said, "I'm staying here." And he said something about, "But I'm going to miss you." And she said, "That's what love is."
Right.
So she knew that he loved her and whatever. And it's a shame that he didn't get to say goodbye to her.
But again, another real thing that happens in the real
Yeah,
world.
it
right?
happens in the real
People
world.
get in fights, they don't talk, and something happens, and
Mhm.
that's something some people unfortunately have to face.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah.
it's just an interesting non-Star Wars real world conflict that's
Yeah,
playing out on
that's
screen.
playing out on screen. And then we go to the bus scene with Cyril and the other guy. And I really, in the beginning, I really wanted to like Cyril as a bad guy, but now
Right.
I just think he's just a crazy stalker. And
Yeah.
I really dislike him. Not even like a bad guy. Like, I dislike Deidre because she's a bad guy, but I
Right.
like her enough.
She's a good character.
She's a great
and I
character.
kind of root for her a little
Yeah, it's like she's almost like a Thrawn, where
Yeah.
when she's in the scene, you're like rooting for her because
Right.
she is thinking so far ahead up until the fight scene today, where she just was not
No.
able to do what.
Very tunnel vision.
Yes,
I will win.
Oh crap. But I'm liking Cyril less and less. Like,
Yeah, he is really like. I was half expecting him to like try and kiss Deidre when he like saved her.
and I thought she was gonna kiss him
Yeah, and I
because
was like, please
she
don't,
had
please don't do this.
she-
Is very Florence Nightingale syndrome, sort of like.
The episode of The Office when Pam has her art show
Chunky.
and
Is there something in your pocket right now? Chunky.
Yeah. But that scene when Michael comes and he says, "Oh my gosh, that's our building.
Right.
That's my car. That's your car. You put our how much is this? I want to buy it." You see all of her emotions
Right.
because she's disappointed that none of her friends came. Then she's like, "Oh crap, Michael's here." Then he's so impressed. And he's like that father figure
Right.
type of thing. So you saw all the emotions in Pam in that 10-second clip.
Right.
This was the same thing with Deidre.
Yep.
When he saves her, you see she doesn't know what to do because she's wound up so tight.
Yep. I almost just died. Oh my God, I'm saved. It's this freaking creep.
It's this creep.
I should probably thank you.
I should thank you for this.
You don't
Now I
have to.
think I like you because you saved me and now you traveled all the way here just for me. She's like,
Which he didn't.
Which he didn't, but yeah. So she went through all of the emotions.
Yep.
Then we see Luther and Vale are talking about Andor, and he says, "Let them find him, and then we'll just kill him. Let them
Yep.
do the hunting. We don't need to hunt. We can just follow them. When they find him, we'll just kill him." And then the bell guy starting the ceremony. Now that giant bell, it
The
was
anvil.
the
Yeah.
anvil. The top of it, the way it was, that mix of metals, looked like it
Beskar.
was Beskar.
did
Can
kinda
you
look like Beskar,
imagine
right?
if that was a giant chunk of
I
Beskar?
can't imagine it was Beskar because if it was, I feel like the Empire would be like, no, this is ours.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry
Like
about you,
we're
Charlie.
taking that.
Yep.
Yeah,
But it was a pretty impressively hefty anvil. Maybe the Empire even tried. And they were like, oh, this is too heavy. Nah, we'll just leave it.
and as a musician, like it had layers inside of there, and there were cuts and things
Acoustics,
like
yeah.
that for acoustics
By the
and
way,
for
there was a
different sound.
space marching band
Yes.
with
Yeah.
space French horns and space flutes and space drums.
Can
Like,
you guys play that march next year
hope
in
so.
marching band
I mean,
season? Can you
we'll
play
see
that
what we
song?
can do.
Yeah.
It was a little bit sad and solemn for
Right,
March
but
march,
then
so.
it had its two parts. It had so you got to play it as you're marching on to the field,
Right.
and then you pause, and then you play the more upbeat part
yeah.
once you're in the show.
Sure.
Yeah, I think you
I'll
should.
consider it.
All right, and then I'll run around with a lightsaber behind you.
We can make that happen.
Yes,
You have to come to all of our
I have my.
competitions.
Hey, I'll do it. If I can
If
run
you
around
can
in a lightsaber and a cape, I'll do it.
That's fair.
I'm trying to bring back capes. I'm trying to bring them back. So if I can start doing it in a show, I mean, Elvis only wore a cape when he was on stage.
That's true.
So I'll wear a cape for your show with my lightsaber and all
I'll
that.
have my people talk to your people.
That'd be perfect. So the band is warming up, and I said you need those instruments in your band. I like how there was a flute hidden inside of this other two more rings of flutes that were all hooked together and stuff.
Well, they look like bass flutes. I don't know if you've ever seen a bass flute.
Okay.
But it looks like that. It's like a flute, but it's curved. So that
Okay.
But it looks like they took bass flutes and they added some stuff to
Added
make it
some-
look Star Wars.
Yeah, to make it look more Star Wars. It was pretty
and
cool.
They took French horns, same thing, to make it look
Mhm.
Star Warsy. Like, again, I don't know how they figured that drum. Like, a drum is a drum.
Right.
You can't make a drum
You
look.
can't make a drum. Yeah, but they like the drum pad,
the head.
of the drum. They made it look like it was a wood grain on top of there
Yep.
to make it a little bit different. But yeah, so the space marching band was setting up, and then Deidre and the Empire not even caring. Once again, not even caring about their thing. They're as the band is marching and as things are starting, they're talking about all these places. Get everybody in place so that we can start doing this. They're starting to ant too early. The marching band went in The Godfather when he's in Italy and the person dies in Italy and they have it reminded me of that the funeral in Italy from The Godfather.
Yeah, and it had that kind of like not great, not polished sound of that. You know what I mean? Whereas like
where it was like, oh, the last time these people played was the last funeral. So then the daughters are leading the march, and it looks to me like anybody can just join in, but then suddenly they stopped people, the spies walking, and then Cinta's following the spy. So she's marching in the parade. Willman, the bomb boy, he joins in, and then the imps are trying to contain it. Andor's hiding. He sees Luthen and knows that everybody's looking for him. And I also feel like at this point, he knows, and once he sees Luthen there, he knows that Luthen is there to kill him.
Right. And he said as soon as he sees Luthen, we know, all right, he's probably going to reconsider what he's going to do right now. You know,
because he had already reconsidered, I think, with this speech.
Right.
But then now, Luthen's here, good. If I can get to him before he can get to me, I can get him to not kill me without me knowing that he's going to kill me. I can talk him out of it and let him know that I want to join. So then Cyril tries to join the march, and he's blocked from that. He's not even allowed to do that.
Yep.
Like, Cyril's been blocked from everything. He loses his job. He's stuck with his mom, who's been nothing but the nicest of moms ever.
You've seen Misery, yes?
Yes. I'm your biggest fan. So then he's at this crappy job now that he hates. He can't get to Deidre. He's trying to get Deidre to get him reinstated, or maybe even get a job in the ISB or anything like that.
But at least his clothes look fly as hell.
But his clothes do look fly as hell.
Always
tailored to the nines.
Yeah.
So then he's like, oh, I can get into this march and be a part of it. No, you can't. So he's even blocked from that.
We are mourning. Please go away.
Please go away.
You are not accepted here.
And then it didn't make me laugh, but when they started chanting "Stone and Sky, Stone and Sky," all the people in the town were shouting it, or chanting it. But then you're looking around, you could tell who the outsiders were because there's like 20 people who aren't saying anything. Spy, 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 spy. Like, okay, all these people that aren't talking, get them out of here because they don't belong in here. Bix is still locked up, and she's here in the ceremony, and I feel like she's chanting. She's
bringing them back.
Yeah, it might be bringing her brain back a little bit. B2 emo. BMO's walking down in front of the ceremony as well. I sent an email out to some friends and asked who was the most likable droid, and I think I'm going to do a Star Wars spotlight dance on it.
Sure.
And he's definitely
BMO. He's like a puppy.
He is like a puppy,
like a human puppy, because he can.
He's a puppy that can talk. Yes, he's so cool.
Just imagine like any of the nicest golden retrievers you've ever met.
Yeah. And then they can talk.
And they can talk. Like what's his name? Kevin.
Kevin.
Up.
Yeah. Well, Kevin was Kevin the bird.
Kevin was the bird. It was the dog.
Doug.
Doug.
Doug. Yeah.
Doug the dog.
Doug the dog. But yes. Um, so then the somber music's to a little bit more upbeat music when they're about to move to the spot where they'll be placed. I did like the stone. I
Mhm.
thought her stone was pretty cool, and I can see somebody on Etsy now is selling
Those
stones
stones, yeah.
with, in memory of your
Yep.
parents or whatever, written in Star Wars in what's the Star Wars language?
Galactic Basic.
Yes,
Or it's written in Arabesh.
Arabesh, written in
Yeah.
Arabesh. Yes. So then they're about to move closer to the spot, and I love how the officers are so tough until they get hit in the face. Then the stones in the sky, everybody who's local is chanting. BMO displays the biggest and clearest holograph I've ever seen.
They did make sure at least once or twice to add in some glitches and beeps and
Yes.
boops, but otherwise, yeah, this thing like broad daylight.
Broad daylight, clear as anything.
Yeah.
A couple of glitches, but very, very clear. So it was
This
a little
old beat up droid apparently has some great freaking
some great
holographic sensors.
yes sensors. The everything has been beat up except for the holographic sensors. So Marva's talking to them, and it was creepy and cool all at the same time. I don't know if you ever saw. Did you see the movie My Life with
I don't think so.
who was the original Batman? Michael Keaton.
No.
Michael Keaton. It was a really good movie. I saw it. I don't want to say it came out soon after my dad passed away from cancer, and it was about him dying of cancer and all the
Okay.
stuff. So it really like hit close to home, but it was kind of like that because at the end of it, he was recording himself saying all these things to his family and stuff like that,
Right.
like on the VHS on the camcorder.
Right.
So then at the very end, his kids watching the tapes.
Yeah.
So it reminded me of that. Because here she is post mortem giving
Right.
this speech to everybody and telling everybody, it's easy for me, I'm dead, to say go fight.
Right.
It's a lot harder for you because you're the ones actually doing it, but whatever. But it was pretty cool. And
It also reminds me of The Office when Michael's like, "Hello, son. If you're watching this, then I am dead." How to take off a bra? Same exact thing, right?
Same exact thing. It was exactly the same thing.
Marva is Michael Scott.
Marva is
confirmed.
Michael Scott. Yes, exactly. And then she says, I want Ferrex to continue. The Empire is a disease that grows when we are sleeping.
And as she's saying this, I'm literally like thinking, like, are they listening? Like,
Yeah,
they're
like-
just sitting back and letting this happen. Eventually, of course, they did intercede, but I'm like, she's
she's
trash-talking y'all,
trash
right?
talking you, right? Yeah.
You might want to get a handle on this situation.
And then the one officer finally says he's had enough.
He throws a cape.
He
over
throws a cape.
the droid,
Deidre is so focused on finding Cashin that she doesn't even care. She wanted to trap everybody. She was told Cashin was in this one place. She storms off. But the one leader, the one general, not
Whoever
general,
that is,
whatever he
the
was,
commander,
commander or whatever, he was like, we can't let this continue. He's getting more angry and more angry to the point where he finally goes and throws his cape over top of BMO.
Yeah,
But it doesn't cover it up all the way.
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So you see half of the dark side. He's a lot of shadowing there as she's saying the Empire's disease that grows when we're sleeping.
Fight.
And then a big fight. And like we said earlier, it wasn't like a rebellion fight. It was more of a protest fight.
Like a protest that got out of hand and turned into a riot.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what it was.
Which is
right?
essentially, yeah.
Dude throws the bomb, and then all of a sudden, everything goes nuts.
Everything goes nuts. The bomb blows up other bombs. There just happened to be
yeah.
more bombs lying there
Good
that got
aim, brother, good aim.
that rolled over and blew up more
and
bombs.
then freaking what's his name? Andor's buddy, just with the stone, just like,
Yeah,
"Wah!"
I was
screaming with it.
I thought as he's hitting people with the stone, I was like, please don't break, please don't
Yeah, I
break.
figured it would just shatter across
Yeah,
someone's skull. at some
luckily it
point.
didn't. It stayed in one piece. Who
Yeah.
knows? And I think he was running off with it.
Yeah.
But then Wilman, the kid, one of the Imperial officers grabs him, and then that's when Brasso just goes over and just bops the guy on the head with the stone, and then grabs Wilman back, and he goes off. Cashin goes up into the hotel while all this nonsense is going on, and he pulls Bix out, and I felt bad. Like she was like, "No, they're gonna get mad. They're gonna.
Yeah,
I can't
kinda,
go."
Kind of reminds me of Reek /
Yes.
Theon Greyjoy. You know what I mean? Like this whole, like, oh, this is just like you can't let me out. This is gonna be bad. They're gonna punish me.
They're gonna punish me more.
Like she's so
Yeah.
like twisted and traumatized
and
by what's happened
traumatized
to
by
her,
it. Yeah.
that she thinks this is just another ruse, or this is just something that
Yep. If you
they're
take,
gonna catch
they're
me,
going to catch me again and then
and it's gonna be
torture me
worse,
again. Yeah. So then he gets her out, and it was not in, the whole purpose the Empire was there was to get Cashin, and Cashin's walking down an alley with Bix
Yep.
as all this fighting is going on, and nobody knows where he is, but yet this giant uprising is happening in the background behind him.
And
BMO's
that's kind
knocked
of the
over.
point, is like there's this one focus, and they're so tunnel vision they don't realize all the other stuff
Going on around
and
it.
all
Yeah.
that other stuff goes on, and all of a sudden they have to focus on that. And here's that thing they were tunnel vision on. It just walked
And
away.
it just walked away. Yeah. BMO's knocked over. I felt so bad.
I
I'm
was
like,
so annoyed.
yeah.
Like, in the movies when the dog gets punched, and you're way more angry about anything. That's BMO.
That was BMO. Yeah. So Corva, the Corva spy, the guy Corva, the spy, he's like walking away. Cynthia's following him, and he turns around and he goes, "What are you doing?" And she doesn't even answer. She just goes, stabs him
in the gut.
This is what I'm doing. I'm stabbing you. And then she closes the door. Now, we didn't see him land. We didn't see any explosions. Is he dead? That's
Maybe
a
he's
good
Palpatine.
question. Maybe he's Palpatine.
Maybe they take his DNA and they fuse it into what's his name from
the guy from the prison, right? And that's how they get Snoke. There you go.
Confirmed.
Yep.
Let's
done.
make an article about
that's rumored.
That's it.
And then as Andor's leaving, the Death Troopers, which the Emperor called them Death Troopers because he wanted people to he told people that they were actually dead people inside that he resurrected, and that's why they're the Death Troopers. They're supposed to be like better soldiers. They're like super soldiers.
They barely ever do anything.
They barely. And Andor dove across the room and somehow perfect shot right into one.
Scope, just like boom, you're
done. So then Deidre gets knocked down. Cyril saves her, and then we already talked about all that.
Weird.
And he
tension.
he kidnapped her. Like he had a gun in her back as he was like getting her off. Whatever. Luthen leaves. Then we see Val and Cinta packing up. They're packing everything up. They're like, we got to go. We got to get out of here. And then Andor's helping all of his friends escape. They get Bix in. And then this was the saddest BMO scene ever.
Yep.
BMO's like, Cashin. He's so excited to see Cashin. He brings Bix in on the ship. And he says, I never got to see you. And then Cashin says, I'm counting on you. He says, you always say that. And he says, and you always come through. Like,
Cashin's the dad who's going out for smokes.
He is every time.
I'll be back, buddy. I know you always say you'll be back.
And
I always come back.
And I always come back
3 years later.
Yeah. Last time you left, it was on my birthday, and I was 4 years old.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Cashin is a deadbeat dad confirmed.
He is confirmed deadbeat dad to BMO. BMO, you can come live with me all you want. I'll take good care of you.
Yeah, Rob fosters lots of
stray
things.
I foster lots of dogs, lots of stray dogs. I'll foster a stray droid now. Yeah. And then we see Mon Mothma's betrothing ceremony. Betrothing ceremony, yes. First she throws her husband under the bus.
Now it's her daughter.
But
her daughter is like super into it too. She's into the whole culture and stuff.
I mean, Mon Mothma's in a no-win situation with her daughter at this point, because if she tells her daughter you're not allowed to join the old ways, then she's a mean mom for not letting her do that.
Right.
So it's almost like she's got to let her join the cult and then figure out for herself that it's a bad idea. Don't wear Nike sneakers and go to bed at nighttime, because do you remember that cult, or that was before? So this whole cult, I don't know how they all committed suicide the same night.
Oh, it was Heaven's Gate, right?
Heaven's Gate, yes.
Oh, no, I know Heaven's Gate. It was the Kool-Aid.
The Kool-Aid, yes.
The bleach and the Kool-Aid, and they all wore Nikes, and it was about Comet Hale-Bop, right?
Yes, yep. Yeah, their leader was going to bring them all back.
They still have a website.
Do they really?
You can visit the website, and it's actively maintained.
Oh my gosh,
it's really
There's
weird.
still
It's
some
really
crazy people. It is very creepy. I don't know. I always thought I wanted to be a cool cult leader, because you have all these people who blindly are following you.
Well, L. Ron Hubbard is quoted as saying, like, if you want to make a lot of money, don't write science fiction. Be a religious leader.
Yeah, and then he created Scientology.
And yet here they all are following him. Crazy stuff, man. We not to talk about religion on
Yeah,
BanthaMilk
on
podcast.
BanthaMilk
No.
podcast. So Luthen's back on a ship. Oh yeah, so she
Luthen's very cool ship. by the way.
Luthen's very cool ship. He gets on board and he talks to the ship. Start blah blah blah.
Stealth mode.
Stealth
here we
mode.
go.
Full
Let's get the hell
start.
outta
Let's go.
here.
And then there's
Mr.
silence.
Sulu, a head warp factor 1.
And the ship doesn't respond to him at all. And he's like, and then he like turns the corner and he looks, and then there's Andor standing
But
there.
why would the ship not respond to him? Did Andor like do some weird stuff? Like that's a weird. I don't know why that was.
Maybe it goes into its own stealth mode when there's bad guys on the ship.
Oh, it's like, hey, I can't let them know this is really
Yeah,
a
that-
way more
that-
OG.
yeah.
Can fly ship.
Yeah,
Alright,
that I'm a virtual reality ship that can control itself type of thing.
alright.
So then Andor basically says, "Kill me or take me
don't."
in,"
Yeah,
and then he
Yeah.
takes him in. He says, "All right, let's go," and that's the end of it.
that's it.
That's how it ends.
Again, there's no like at the end of that. It's not like someone pulled out the dark saber.
No,
You know, it's not like one of the Inquisitors showed up. It was just really good storytelling,
Yeah.
building to a climax, and they set up what was to come.
and knowing when they started it that there was going to be 24 episodes, there was going to be 2 seasons. They were able to do a very good Empire Strikes Back finale where you're good cliffhangers, not the congratulations, everything is a great day ending.
Right.
This is it. There's a small uprising, but now more people are on board, and this is going to be the building of it for next season.
Sure. I'm wondering where they're going to leave it off because, like, I think I've mentioned, I think there's rumored to be a time jump. I could be wrong.
So, okay.
But we have a lot of storytelling that could happen, and if they're only doing 2 seasons, we know Andor's end.
Yeah.
So I would assume, are going to lead us into
Right. If it goes
One.
right into Rogue One, which is 5 years after the start of this season.
Right.
So, if we have another, but also throughout this season, like we don't really know how long he was in jail.
I think it was a couple months. They mentioned.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was only a couple months
Yeah.
because, his mom quickly went downhill.
Right.
And it wasn't like they were talking years of this. Like this was a couple of months that he was there. So it wasn't a huge time jump per se. It was just a gradual
Right.
time progression. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if it goes to a 2-year, 3-year jump or not at all. I would think you would want to go a little bit ahead to have Mon Mothma being able to put more pieces together.
Sure. And they can't really finish Andor's character arc,
Right.
because there's character building that happens in Rebels or
Yeah.
Rogue One.
In Rogue One.
So like he changes as a character in that movie.
Yeah.
So like it's not as though at the end of season 2 it's like, hey, they fleshed out Andor's character and he's a full human and look at him. He's probably going to progress at some point, but it still has to lead us into where he is at the beginning of Rogue One. At the beginning of Rogue One, he's an undercover agent. He's a spy. He has very little scruples, really. You know what I mean? He's kind of that. We open up Rogue One with him talking to that guy, and then killing him.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're going to end this with him being like this savior of people. He's probably
Right.
going to be pretty shady.
Yeah, he's still going to be shady, and he's been shady even this first season.
Sure.
He's been shady.
But the shady for that has been more about self-preservation.
Right.
You know what I mean? About
right.
Like now it's about continuing the cause, and it's
Mhm.
about doing what's necessary. And we see that at the beginning of Rogue One when he kills that guy. So we'll probably see more of that in season 2. I'd
Yeah,
imagine.
and even like in the very beginning, we established his saying when he first meets Luthen about how the Empire doesn't think that we could just walk into their
Right.
into their thing. So he has that shadiness to him already, and it continued. Even he was able to walk in the season finale, walk into the hotel. He was able to sneak into there. He was able to walk out of the jail. Like they think that they're so all powerful, but he realizes that he can keep doing these things, and it's going to progress even more throughout the second season, leading into Rogue One. So it'll be
Right.
pretty cool to see where it goes.
Yeah, man. And that's the end of our episode, man.
Yeah, man,
Like,
it was a good.
it was a great season. I think you can go ahead and count on us coming to you next week or the week after, just doing a full season wrap up.
Yep.
Talking about what we think is going to come next in season 2. Also talking about stuff to come in the Star Wars universe. I mean, we've got Mandalorian season 3 coming pretty soon. We've got assuming Book of Boba Fett at some point will come out. We've got Ahsoka coming out with something, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um,
And they had the cartoon that came out,
Oh yeah, we definitely got to talk about the Star Wars Tales of the Jedi.
Tales of the Jedi.
I haven't got a chance to watch them yet, but I've heard mixed reviews.
Yeah,
They're short,
so
right? 15 minutes long each.
they're not even, yeah, 15 minutes with opening and closing credits.
Right.
I was thinking, and Ryan and I talked about it in your absence, how I thought there was going to be a lot more characters, but it was only Ahsoka
Duke,
and Count Dooku,
right?
and it was Count Dooku leading into him turning bad.
right.
But they could have done it differently. I don't like, me personally, I don't like shorts
Right.
because
You want to see things more.
I want to see
fleshed out,
things,
you
yeah.
wanna see
And it's like
progression.
it's like a 10-minute show, but 4 minutes are closing credits, so it's really like a 6-minute cartoon.
Yeah, when it comes to things that short, anytime someone's not talking, I'm going, all right, this is a waste of time.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because like we don't have time for world building and and like incredible scenery when we only have 10 minutes. to
when
tell
you
a
when you're
story.
only giving us a 10-minute story, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a show in Canada called Letterkenny.
Okay, I've heard of it.
Okay, and they also did a cartoon kids shorts, Little Kenny they called it,
Okay.
and it was the same thing. Luckily with that, if you binged watched them all in a row, I think it was on Hulu. But once you got past the first episode, if you just kept watching, they cut out all the closing credits and stuff, so it did go a lot faster.
Mhm.
But it was like 7-minute, like real quick little stories,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh, that's cute. You could have, you could have made a 30-minute or even a 15-minute, like the way SpongeBob would be like 2 episodes
Right.
in one 30-minute thing. Like you could have made it, you could have come up with 7 more minutes to make
Right.
this story funnier and longer than what you did.
Right.
And I felt like it was the same thing with these Tales of the Jedi. They could have either packaged them differently, where they put all 3 Ahsoka stories together and just made one 45-minute Ahsoka story and one 45-minute Doku story. I would have been fine.
Right.
I would have been totally happy with 2 episodes. And, with the premise that in the future we'll get more behind the scenes,
Right.
more Princess Leia or Luke Skywalker, other like little kid stories of
Right.
them, or even Han Solo, like a young Han Solo, like younger than when we saw him in Solo or whatever. Just something fun, going back to.
Were they kiddie? Were they kind of kiddie?
They were the Japanese. I forget what his name is.
Oh, Ghibli, Studio Ghibli, right?
Yeah, Studio Ghibli. So very slow storytelling.
Which is not great when you only have.
Which
a
is
couple
not,
minutes.
yeah. A lot of exactly what you said we don't want. It was a lot of great scenery, a lot of slow movement story, like
watching them walk somewhere.
yeah. And then the Ahsoka, there were 2 good fight scenes. There was a good fight scene with Ahsoka. There was a good fight scene with Doku, and Yaddle was in that
Yaddle, all
one.
right.
So there were 2 good fight scenes, but when you have a 6-minute episode, your fight scene is 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
So it's like it could have been a 15-minute episode with a 5 or 10-minute fight scene, or even 2 fight scenes. Like Yaddle fights Doku, and Doku runs, and then she catches up to him later on, and has another, like every Rocky movie where there's 2 fights. Rocky
Right.
lose first, and then he
Rocky
wins.
Right.
So it could have been the same thing.
Right?
Yeah, like Obi-Wan.
Lost the first one, then he came back and he kicked Darth
And
Vader's ass.
yeah, exactly. So it could have been a lot better like that. So whatever.
Either way, we'll probably come back to talk about that in a future episode. But it's been a great season.
It has been.
Excited about season 2 and where it is to come, where it's going to go from here. But we'll talk all about all that other stuff on the next episode.
Yes.
Right. In the meantime, from all of us here, both of us at
Both of us.
BanthaMilk Podcast